Good morning, students. You're welcome to our first online class. My name is Dr. Adiele. It's quite unfortunate that we could not meet ourselves before the coronavirus pandemic. I have been directed to take you people on the course Educational Administration. You will all have to listen and take your notes as the lecture progresses. Officially, the school has reopened on the 4th of May, and every lecturer is supposed to proceed with online classes with his students. So on that note, today is the commencement of our lecture online on educational administration. You will recall that we were supposed to meet first. On the date by the date we agreed to meet, the school has already been closed down. So since then we have not met. But I have met with your course rep and I agreed on a number of issues, including this online lecture. So please, you will listen to the lecture, make your notes, and then much later I'll come online and then take your questions, if there are any. You raise those questions on your platform. I will take them one after the other, if there are any. Any gray areas you ask questions, I will explain them online too. On that note, you are welcome. I hope all of you have been staying safe according to medical direction. All of you have been staying safe at home. Maintain social distancing. Use your hand sanitizers. Wash your hand regularly. And above all, let's be praying to God that this period should come and pass, so that we can meet once more again in the school and interact as usual. On that note, I welcome all of you to today's class. Today's class is the first class in the series, and we'll be looking at the concept and nature of educational administration. The concept and nature of educational administration. The concept and nature of educational administration. So what that means is that we'll be looking at the definition of what administration is, the definition of what educational administration is, and then we'll look at the nature of educational administration. That's what we'll be doing today. So I'll take them bit by bit, and then please do well and follow up. I'll take down your notes. I'll take them in such a way that you will listen and jot your notes where necessary. At the appropriate time, when the clampdown is over, the textbooks will be made available for you so that you can read it in addition to your notebooks. All right, so we'll begin with the concept of administration. The concept of administration. And to understand administration well, where does administration take place? Where does administration take place? Administration takes place in an organization. Administration takes place in an organization. And organizations can be either goal-oriented organization or service-oriented organization. Organizations could be goal-oriented or service-oriented. All organizations are goal-oriented. All organizations are goal-oriented. Now, every goal-oriented organization could either be product-oriented or service-oriented. Take that correctly, please. All organizations are goal-oriented. All organizations are goal-oriented. And every goal-oriented organization can either be product-oriented or service-oriented. Product-oriented organizations are such organizations that produce tangible goods, that we can see. So that's why they are called product-oriented organizations. Organizations that produce such things like car, like the laptop, like your phone, like even biro, like books. So we can see the tangible things they produce. All such organizations are called product-oriented organizations. Now, service-oriented organizations are organizations that render services. Their own goal is to render services. Such services like educational services. Such services like educational services, like the services rendered by Coca-Cola. They render services by producing rendering services to people. Such services that are rendered by MTN. They render services. So when you use their product, what they render to you is services. And educational institutions are good examples of organizations that render services. So having understood that, then we have to understand what takes place for it to be called administration. So in every organization that either produces a product or renders services, there are certain activities that are carried on in such organization. There are certain activities that are carried on in such organization that requires conscious and systematic process. Requires conscious and systematic process that brings in human and material resources together, and then those human and material resources are applied in the process of achieving those goals, and then the goals of the organization is achieved. So if that is the case, if every organization have goal to attain, such goals could be either service oriented or product oriented, and in each of such organization, human and material resources are applied in the attainment of such goals. What then is administration? What then is administration? So here, at this point now, we'll be looking at the definition of administration. But there are difficulties we encounter in trying to define administration. What is that difficulty? The difficulty is in the use of the term management and administration. Most times, the two terms are used interchangeably as if they are the same. So when we say administration, we are equally referring to management. So these two terms are used interchangeably that one get confused as to which one is really administration and which one is really management, even when the two, share common characteristics in their meaning. But we will be able to differentiate and know which one is which. The two concepts are similar in their characteristics and in their definitional analysis. For example, what is management? Management is seen as activities which involve plan design, policy formulation, control, coordination of human activities, coordination of material resources towards the attainment of organizational goals. Management is seen as involving planning, organizing, controlling, coordinating and coordinating of human and material resources towards the attainment of organizational goals. Management is seen as planning, controlling, coordinating and coordinating of human and material resources towards the attainment of organizational objective. If this is the case, what is management? What is administration? Administration is also seen as the process by which the goals and objectives of an organization are being planned for, are being coordinated, are being controlled towards the attainment of organizational objectives. So where does the difference lies? If the two definitions are the same, where does the difference lies? So the difference now will be able to tell us what management involves and what administration involves. The difference in the two is that management does the same thing with administration does in terms of planning, coordinating, controlling human and material resources towards the attainment of organizational objective. But in the area of management, management is seen to be done at the topmost hierarchy, at the topmost level of the organization, while administration is the operationalization of the decisions taken at the management level, all using the same variable. Now, management can be said to be activities done at the macro level, while administration can be said to be activities carried out at the micro level or at the institutional level. So that's why all the people that perform administrative functions at the top most level in an organization, they are called managers, while those that implement the decisions taken at the topmost level are called administrators. But in all of them perform the same function. But the functions of the manager is at the policy making level at the top. The function of the manager or management is at the top, at the policy making level, while the function of the administrator is at the lower level, called operational level or institutional level, at the level of implementation of the policies made at the top. So that is differences. But in all their functions, they perform the same function of planning, organizing, controlling human and material resources in an organization. At the top management level, these activities are done. They plan, they coordinate, they control. Then at the administrative level, they also do the same thing. But the difference is that the administrative functions, put into effect the decisions taken at the management level. So that's why it's called administration. Their job is to implement the decisions already, the policies and decisions already taken at the top management level. While the top managers are the ones that formulate the policy. They design the programs to be implemented at the lower level. But in doing that, they make use of all the characteristics I've mentioned here. That has to do with plan design, plan control, coordination of human and material resources. If that is understood, so what then do we mean by administration? We can therefore say that administration can be defined as the process of planning, organizing, controlling, coordinating human and material resources in an organization towards the implementation of the goals and objectives of that organization. Let me take it again. We therefore can say that administration is defined as the process of planning, organizing, controlling, coordinating human and material resources in an organization towards the implementation of the goals and objectives of an organization. Towards the implementation of the goals and objectives of an organization. All right, so these are the activities. When we see these activities, we know that administration is taking place. All these activities involve the administrative process. Now, let's look at each of the activities, one after the other, and the specific function each activity performs for it to be called administration. 1. The planning function. The planning function. Here, the administrator has to take decisions on the choices of action to embark upon, or what is called alternative choices of course of action. What do we do? What decisions do we take? What actions do we take to achieve a given goal in an establishment? So the bulk of the activity here in planning is taking decision on what action to be taken among alternative course of action, activities to be involved in. The administrator weighs all the options available to achieve a goal and make the best option, make the best decision on which option to be taken. So that's a administrative function. It's administrative and management function. Administrative when it is used to plan to implement the goals set at the top level. It's a management function when it is used to decide at the top level the goals to be achieved. At the administrative level, it is used to plan the goals to be implemented, what to be implemented with respect to giving goals. All right, then the second one is organizing function. The organizing function has to do with ensuring that each part of the organization has a role to play towards the achievement of the goals. Now, in every organization, there are component parts. Otherwise known as departments. Each department has to be organized in such a way that they play their role, and each role played in the different by the different components all will lead towards the attainment of the organizational goal. In every organization, you have the personnel department, you have the account department, you have the bursary department, you have a health department, all different departments, all of them performing different functions that leads to. In an educational organization, for example, the school, we have the different departments. For example, in a higher institution like our school, we have the entire school. Now, in the entire school, we now have faculties. And now, in the faculties, we now have departments. And in department, we now have units. We have courses. You know, every of such departments and faculties are organized in such a way that all their activities tilt towards the attainment of the overall educational goal. So it's a function performed by the administrator to ensure that every activity is properly organized, that the organization is properly departmentalized, and that each department performs functions relative to the overall goal of the organization. Then the third one is the coordinating function. The coordinating function enables all composite roles to complement each other. The coordinating function enables all composite roles to complement each other in achieving organizational goal. Now, what we do in education, in the Faculty of Education, will complement what is done in the Faculty of Humanities and Faculty of Social Sciences and every other faculties. What we do in the Department of Educational Management will also complement what is done in the other department, so that by the end of the day, the students comes up achieving the goal for which the institution is set up. So you see, every department performs composite function that leads to the overall attainment of the educational objective. You know, so the activities must be well coordinated in such a way that all the functions are effectively performed, and then at the end, the overall goal is achieved. Then we have the control function. The control function, here, the administrator provides supervision and ensures that every department, every component perform their function in line with the goal set for the organization. So these are specifically the administrative functions in an organization, which also help to give the definition of administration. Now, having explained what administration is, the next question is, what is educational administration? What is educational administration? Educational administration cannot be far from the definition already put. So educational administration is part of the general administration. It's what happens in oil company, what happens in the banking institution, what happens in the administration is administration. So in education, Educational administration is also part of the general administration. So we can therefore say that it is concerned with the planning, organizing, coordinating, controlling of human and material resources in the education sector towards the realization of educational objectives most reasonably or most rationally. So we can say that educational administration is concerned with planning, organizing, coordinating, controlling of human and material resources in education, in the education sector, towards the realization of educational objectives most reasonably or most rationally. Now, if that is the overall definition of educational administration, what then is school administration? School administration is the operationalization of the educational administration. What that means is that the definition given above is operationalized at the institutional level. At the institutional level, the same activity is carried on, but at the level of the educational institution to implement the overall educational goal set at the top. So, educational administration, it is called administration when it applies at the institutional level. Say, for example, at the university management level, or secondary school institutions, or primary school institution. Any educational activity carried out at this level is called educational administration. But any educational activity carried out at the level of the Ministry of Education, the Directors of Education, Commissioners of Education, and the Schools Management Board, though at that level it is called management, because they take topmost decisions that are implemented at the lower level. Therefore, administrative decisions taken at that level becomes management decision. Administrative decisions taken at the institutional level, like the university, secondary schools, or primary schools, is called educational administrative decisions. So the difference is that at the top level, the function performed at that level of education is called management function. At the institutional level, it is called administrative functions. So every activity carried out by, for example, the vice chancellor of a university is called administration. It is called administration because the vice chancellor, the activities of the vice chancellor and his management team and his team try to implement educational decision already taken at the top. So he doesn't formulate fresh policies concerning education. He's already implementing the policies laid down and handed over to him. Policies emanate from either the State Ministry of Education, Federal Ministry of Education, or the NUC that oversees the activities of higher institutions. So what they do is to implement the programs that have already been approved, that have already been planned for at the top level. So now, based on that policies laid down already at the top, what he does at this level is to plan in accordance with the laid down policy that is already in existence. So all such activity that is done at this level is called administrative functions. Administrative function to give effect to the management decisions taken at the topmost educational planning level. And now, having said that, we will now quickly look at the specific administrative functions of the school head or the school administrator. The specific administrative functions of the school administrator. What are they? Now, in other words, we're looking at the scope of institutional administration. The scope of institutional administration or school administration. What are the things that educational administrators does with regard to planning, organizing, coordinating of human and material resources at the institutional level? What are the activities that are carried out at this level? We'll take them one by one. Now, in every institution, the following administrative responsibilities are carried out. 1. Student personnel administration. Students personnel administration. Student personnel administration. Here, the administrator has to plan, has to organize, has to coordinate human and material resources available to him in the following areas. In the following areas of 1. Student admission policies. Student admission policies. Now, there is an overall policy, for example, the National Policy on Education, which says that for any child to be registered into primary school, that child must attain the age of 6. So it is mandatory that as soon as a child is age 6, that child will be in primary 1. You know, the kindergarten age is the earlier age, maybe 1 to 3, 1 to 5, or you are in the nursery school and kindergarten. Then as soon as the child has attained the age of 6, that child mandatorily will be in primary school. And now, if you are an institutional leader, the policy is there from the top that age 6 should be in primary school. So when a child presents, you are now a headmaster, you are a school headmaster, otherwise a school administrator at the primary school level. When a child presents himself for admission at that level, the criteria you will look at for, the policy you will now make is to implement that policy on admission. So you will now check the age. Admission policy. No. So if any parent brings a child that is the age of 5 or below for primary education, you will say no. The policy here is that children to be registered here must attain the age of 6. So you are implementing the policy laid down already. Now, at the university level, another example of admission policy for students, there is already laid down policy on admission that a child to gain admission into a tertiary institution, that child must have 5 credits in 2 sittings, which should include English and mathematics. So this now forms the basis of the administrative policy of a vice chancellor and his staff. So when students write the JAMB and pass your JAMB, no problem about that. But at the point of admission, the vice chancellor and his team now embarks on this policy. They will now formulate policy that must be in line with the existing policy, and therefore they will now check. Even if you score the highest point in JAMB, you must meet the admission criteria of having 5 credits in 2 sittings, which will include English and mathematics. Any child that does not have that, even if you have scored the highest point in JAMB, will not be admitted. So you see the administrative responsibility or function at the administrative level. So that's on students admission. Then the next one on placement. It is the responsibility of the education administrator to place students or pupils appropriately according to classes, according to the courses they want to read. Maybe if at the university level, students are admitted based on courses they want to read, and it is the responsibility of an administrator to place them in accordance. Now, the courses you studied at the secondary school level is significant to the course you read in higher institution. For example, you cannot apply to study science, biology, for example. Meanwhile, you didn't study biology, you didn't pass biology at the O level, and then you pass the JAMB. So it is the responsibility of the administrator to properly place you where you belong. If you have passed the JAMB and have the criteria for admission 5 credits, and then among that 5 credits you do not have biology to enable you to study biological sciences, biology in the school, they will say no, you are not qualified because you did not study biology. But however, since you have met the criteria, you have the option of studying area you qualify. So they have that. It is the responsibility of the administrator to properly place students on admission at any level, at all the levels of educational administration, whether the primary, secondary, or tertiary. Now we have the problem, the function of learning programs, the programs to learn. Now at the primary and secondary level, they are called subjects to be taught. These subjects must be based on the overall policy provided in the national policy on education. The courses to be run at the primary school level, the courses to be run at the secondary school level, and the programs to be run at the tertiary level. Now, the administrator determines the courses to be run based on the approvals given to him and based on the facilities and manpower available at the level. Now, in a school that is supposed to teach the sciences, the arts, and the social sciences, and then you don't have a social science teacher, it invariably means that that subject cannot be taught. It invariably means that that subject cannot be taught. The same thing applies to higher institution. A higher institution that does not have relevant manpower in certain areas cannot run such programs. So until when such manpower is recruited based on your administrative function and the facilities provided, then you can run. So the administrator also determines the programs to be learned in school. The administrator has significant role to play in determining the programs to be run, the subjects to be taught, and all that. Not just subjects to be taught, assigning these subjects to specific teachers who are qualified in that relevant area is an administrative function. The administrator also provides health services to the institution. In every educational institution where there is an administrator, he must provide where people gather, wherever people come to stay for a length of time, health issues could arise. And because health issues could arise at any time, the administrator should be able to make provision for health in whatever form. So at the primary school level and secondary school level, we must have health unit where we have first aid and elementary drugs like paracetamol and all that, things that you can use to, assuming there is wound on campus, to be treated and all that. Then at the higher level, there is a health unit. There are health facilities provided where people go for treatment, case of emergency, case of ill health, and all that arising within that institution. They go there and take. So it's a mandatory function of educational administrator. Then we have sports and recreation. It is also the responsibility of the educational administrator or school administrator to provide health, sports facilities and recreational facilities for the students and staff. They say all work and no play make Jack a dull boy. So within educational institution, recreational facilities and sports facilities are usually provided so that students and staff can recreate and engage in sports activity. So it's compulsory, and the school administrator must also administer that area. They will also have the guidance and counseling rules. The school administrator plays guidance and counseling role. He plays this role to both students and staff. Guide them, counsel them where necessary, when the need arises. Give appropriate counseling and services. So that is why the educational administrator performs multiple functions. And in all these administrative functions, he does planning, he does coordination, he does controlling of human and material resources to achieve all these things itemized here. Then we have staff personnel administration. The staff personnel administrative functions of the school administrator has to do with the teaching staff and non-teaching staff. In every institution, there are two categories of staff: the teaching staff and non-teaching staff. The teaching staff are otherwise known as academic staff. They are also known as academic staff. They are the ones that do the teaching activity in the classroom. Their job is to teach in the classrooms. Now, the non-teaching staff are support staff to the school. Like the accounting officers, administrative officers, the clerks, and all the cleaners, messengers. All those will fall under the non-teaching staff, or what is called non-academic staff. Now, the school administrator here, at certain level, like the higher institution level, is involved in the recruitment and placement of staff. It's involved in direct recruitment. At the higher institutional level, they are directly involved in recruitment and placement of staff. according to their qualification and area of specialization. At the lower level of secondary and primary, they may not be able to recruit, but they can make recommendation. You can say, in this area we are lacking teachers. Therefore, the recruiting officers at the board level should please take note that this is the number of staff we lack, and in so area. So that's the input they make in staff administration. They also supervise the staff. They place them and supervise them. When teaching staff is posted to a school, it is the responsibility of the administrator to place them on the class and subject to teach based on their qualification. It's a misnomer to place an economic student to teach, economic qualified teacher to teach mathematics, to teach geography and all that. It is wrong to do that. So it is the position of the administrator to properly place teachers in their area of specialization. However, it is also the responsibility of the administrator to know the teacher that have whose qualification is relevant in an area where teachers are not available. For example, we don't have a mathematics teacher at all, and then the students must learn mathematics. So any of your staff that have relevant qualification and experience and knowledge in mathematics that can handle that area temporarily could also be assigned to take care of that problem. So they also perform the disciplinary role on staff. The staffs will err as humans, and therefore it is the responsibility of the administrator to discipline them appropriately. For every disciplinary problem, there is an appropriate action to be taken by the administrator. It could be in the form of query, it could be in the form of sanction, or whatever function that it takes. These are also provided by law. The ones that are not provided by law, the institutional leader have the power to effect discipline. So all these are the administrative functions performed by the administrator. He also assigned teaching activity. He designed the timetable of what is to be taught in the school at the appropriate time. So all these are the administrative activities of the school administrator concerning staff personnel administration. Then we have facility administration. This has to do with all the facilities and equipment used in the school. It also has to do with conducive learning environment, providing conducive learning environment. All these are administrative functions of the school administrator. It ensures that the environment for learning is conducive enough for learning. He ensures that the facilities and equipment provided are, one, adequately provided, ensures that facilities are adequately provided based on the number of students they have in the school and the number of staff they have, ensures that they are properly utilized, ensures that those facilities are properly utilized, also ensures that the facilities are adequately maintained. So these are the responsibilities that the administrator performs at the institutional level. Then we have school finance administration. Here, the school administrator is involved in school business finance management. In every school where you go, because school brings in people together. It brings the students, the staff, and visitors who come around that school. Now, it is a business community. So there are business activities that goes on there. So the school administrator must be able to coordinate that school activity in such a way that all the money that is generated from all the different areas are properly accounted for. At the primary school, for example, within the school provide opportunities for people to come and do business around or within the premises. If you enter a school building, for example, you see people who are selling snacks, canteen, and all that. Sometimes the school itself can also run a canteen, and then put people there to be in charge, and it generates funds for the school. The school administrator does all that and must give appropriate account for that. Besides that, there are account officers who are also posted to the school at the lower level. The school administrator also supervises them and ensures that they do their job. At the institutional level, at the higher institutional level, tertiary education, there are businesses done. The school can engage in business and can also coordinate the businesses done within the school premises. In Ignatius Ajuru, for example, we have the fish pond. It's a school business. We have Ajuru Bitters. It's a school business. We have other varieties of businesses that are done within the campus that generates money to the school. They are all school business. All this must be properly coordinated, and then the money being generated from them properly accounted for. They are all functions of the school administrator. Then you have professional responsibilities of the school administrator. Professional responsibility of the school administrator. This has to do with the staff training and retraining activities in the school, such as workshops, seminars, and then there is also what is known as mentor-mentee in an organization. The mentor is the man who have the requisite experience. And then we have the mentee, those who are just coming into the profession. So the younger ones, otherwise referred to as mentee, are assigned to directly work with a mentor, the highly experienced ones, and understudy them, and in the process begin to gain experience on teaching. So that is why in higher institutions, for example, when new lecturers are employed, they are assigned to work under professors or associate professors or very senior colleagues. They are paired up so that those ones begin to gain experience in the job, and in the process they begin to do better. So these are responsibilities of the school administrator. Know who and who to pair as mentor and mentee in an institution, all that. Now he also does the job of curriculum content development. At the primary school level or secondary school level, the school administrator determines the curriculum content, what is to be taught. Even though there are syllabuses, there are scheme of work provided at the top level, it is at the school administrative level here that this is broken down into subject areas, and the school administrator plays a significant role in the various content development of what is to be taught and ensures that all that are taught. They are his professional responsibility. He should be able to know what should constitute. So when he supervises the teacher and what he does in the class and the content of what he is teaching, that is the direct result of the experience he already has over the content of what should be taught in the school, not just assigning teachers and then ask them to go and teach. The content of what is to be taught must be provided. He does that by providing school scheme of work, the syllabuses, and the textbooks that are to be used to teach the various subjects. On that note, my dear students, I think we'll be coming to the end of today's class. In the class, we have looked at the meaning of administration and the meaning of management. Even though management and administration share the same characteristics, but they are not the same. Management is performed at the topmost level, while administration is performed at the institutional or operational level. Although all of them are involved in planning, in controlling, in coordinating of human and material resources towards the attainment of organizational goal. Management is performed at the topmost level, while administration is performed at the institutional level to give effect to the policy decisions taken at the topmost level. We have also looked at educational administration. Educational administration is also part of the general administration that also has to do with planning, coordinating, controlling of human and material resources in education sector towards the attainment of educational objective. School administration gives effect to the overall educational management decisions at the top by implementing those goals and objectives at the institutional level. And to do that, the school administrator involved in what is called student personnel administration, staff personnel administration, facility administration, financial administration, and professional responsibilities in the school. So on that note, we'll come to the end of today's class. Thank you. If there are gray areas and things